Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Holy Plot. This is just Liam and Jacob, no James this time. Don't worry, he'll be back. We are going to be talking about Mario Wonder today. It is easily the biggest Switch game of this quarter. It was the focus of a couple different directs. It's making huge waves around the Nintendo side of the internet right now. If you're watching this, no doubt you already know a bit about it. Full disclosure, I have not played it. So my friend Jacob here,
Yo, what's up?
He, spoiler alert, loved it. He's got a lot to say about it. Very excited to hear what he has to say because we haven't really talked about it, Jacob, have we? Not like in depth.
No, we haven't. I think a big part of that is I kind of bought this game on a whim. Going into it, and you can even go back and listen to some of our older podcast episode. We did a podcast episode on the direct they announced it. I honestly wasn't too pumped for this game. Spider-Man came out the same day, and I was just expecting to play that. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even finished Spider-Man because I have been so busy 100%ing this, so I didn't really expect to like it as much as I did.
Yeah, that was one of the things that surprised me because this guy, he bought like the big Venom statue thing.
yeah, I did.
the whole shebang. So when I asked him the day Spider-Man came out, I'm like, "Oh, how's Spider-Man?" He's like, "I don't know, I haven't played it. I've been so grabbed by Wonder."
Well, I think the reason for that, and we can kind of get into the main point I want to make, is Wonder feels like the 2D sequel to Mario Odyssey. And the way what I mean by that is Odyssey takes the formula of a classic game like Mario 64 and it revisits it and it kind of makes it weird and does some spins on it and just weird shit that we haven't seen in Mario before, like a T-Rex. And this game kind of does the same thing, where it takes the original Super Mario Brothers game and even some of the modern 2D games that I don't think people like as much, and it gives it this really fresh new coat of paint. I don't even think that's a fair way of saying it, because it's like a complete overhaul of the formula where you can still feel the original game in there. You can still feel 64 in Odyssey, and you can still feel the original Mario game in this game, but it's like a complete innovation of it.
Yeah, that's something I've been seeing online where this is absolutely a 2D Mario game. Like it doesn't stop being what you know in that sense, but it does it in a way that like you said, sort of it breaks the formula without breaking the game. And how do you think it does that, Jacob, getting into specifics?
2D games in particular from these big AAA franchises like Sonic, Mario, not as much in the indie side, they feel too safe. They feel like they're retreading old ground, and I think that's why people have been turned off to things like classic Sonic, turned off to the new Super Mario Bros. Games, is because they don't have new ideas. And every single stage of this game, and the reason why I love it so much, and why you're going to love it so much when you play it, is every single stage of this game is doing something new. Like up into the bonus levels, the little mini games that you find throughout the game that kind of feel like mini games from It Takes Two. The boss in particular, it's just all new, fresh ideas. There's some statistic out there, we'll put up the tweet on screen, where they let every single member of the Mario team basically pitch in ideas for this, which is just a crazy concept. And there were like thousands of them, legitimately. And they just, anything that sticked on the wall, they kept in the game. And you can really feel that, because no level feels like another one. It really doesn't.
Which I think is a super big deal, especially in Mario games, because we just got out of the new Super Mario Bros. Era, which I think it gets a little too much flack. Those are fun enough games. But Mario clearly was in need of a bit of a revamped 2D Mario anyway.
For sure.
For a long time, the Donkey Kong Country games, which I know Wonder is getting a lot of comparisons with something like Tropical Freeze.
Yeah.
And for a while, the Donkey Kong Country games are really kind of like dancing on the new Super Mario Bros. Games. But it feels like what they're doing is they're doing a thing where every level is new, everything is exciting. But I wanted to ask you, with every level just on their own being new and fresh and exciting and hard to predict, where do the wonder seeds within these exciting levels factor in?
I mean, they're the main factor. It kind of feels like, I know this is like a weird way of saying it, but it kind of feels like the but at an end of a sentence. Like you're playing the level, and it's just kind of like this straight line, and then it just throws a curveball at you, and it changes it up halfway through. And like sometimes the seed just takes you to the end of the level. It is the level, basically. It kind of feels like a set piece to every level, which is just such a weird, innovative concept. Where the collectibles, and we saw this in Odyssey a little bit, but the collectibles like is the gameplay loop. And you know how much I love collectibles, so it's probably
you're
starting.
A big collectible guy.
You're probably starting to understand why I'm liking this game so much, because it's like you're tying the main set pieces to the game to these collectibles to the point where you can't miss it, because you're not because it's not hidden enough, but because you're so invested in finding it.
Did you have a wonder seed effect that stuck out to you, maybe as a favorite or one that just comes to mind?
We're showing footage of it right now. It's the second level in the game, and I'm not trying to make the impression that the game peaks there, but I feel like it's a way not to spoil it. The second level of the game has this like crazy like sequence where like the level kind of turned into like a Broadway production, and it turned into like a musical number, and that was like the moment that I saw myself and a lot of people online being like, yeah, I'm gonna finish this game.
Okay.
It kind of feels like the Cascade Kingdom in Mario Odyssey, where it's just like that first initial, or like the boss at the beginning of a God of War game, where it's like, now I have to see what they can do with this. It was very good. It was a good hook.
Another question that I'm seeing online, people who haven't played it. I know this was a massive deal during the early announcements of the game, especially with the first trailer. You can probably imagine what I'm getting at is the lack of Charles Martinet. Did you feel that at all? Do you think this new guy, do you think he's filling the shoes well? Was it like distracting?
So here's the thing. I'm not one of these fans out there, which I don't blame you. That's like, they think that there's no Mario without Charles Martinet. I think he made the character. I think he is the character. But like, I mean, there's gonna be a successor to him. You know, he was gonna stop at some point. I didn't even have a problem with Chris Pratt playing Mario, and I don't have a problem with this guy playing Mario. But it is different. It isn't the same voice, which I think is honestly a good thing. I think when you do a recast, and I'm not trying to rag on it, but Sonic in particular has this issue. I love Roger Craig Smith as Sonic, but they kind of feel like they're doing impressions of one another. It kind of feels like we're in this like impression Ponzi scheme with some of these long-running characters, where it just kind of feels like we're just getting further and further from the first.
It's almost like a game of telephone.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect way of putting it. And this guy's not doing that, which I think in the long run is going to be the right choice. But it is noticeable. Particularly his Mario voice. I thought his Luigi voice was perfect.
Who'd you play as for the majority of it?
So I played it with a buddy, so I had Mario and Luigi there the entire time. And
fun.
Yeah, Luke was playing it with me.
Shout out Luke.
Yeah, we had, and both of us were noticing his differences with Mario more than Luigi. I think his Luigi voice was definitely, I hate to say it, but a little better. I think he's gonna be fine. I mean, they're not going to like recast him or anything. I think he's doing a good job. I like that they got like an unknown actor, because people were complaining about that, and I wanted to go look at Charles Martinet's credits before he started playing Mario. That doesn't define an actor, and I was worried they were going to go down a different route after their philosophy with casting Chris Pratt, which was, what is the biggest name we can get? Here, they did the opposite. They found someone the same way they found Charles Martinet, and I thought that was the right call.
First of all, it's good to hear, but moving back to the actual gameplay itself, Wonder Seeds notwithstanding, because obviously the Wonder Seeds are the big draw of this game. They are the gimmick, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Just as important as level design and engaging set pieces is sort of the momentum and weightiness and feel of the character.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a huge deal, especially something that comes to mind is like Ori and the Blind Forest or Hollow Knight or Sonic Mania.
Celeste.
Yeah, Celeste, exactly, where the character, like the levels are great, but on top of that, the character just feels fun and light and quick and responsive.
For sure, like almost like combat in a video game.
Exactly. So talk a little about that in this game. Does it feel good? Is there room for improvement?
Honestly, so you're going to get where I'm coming from. It's a lot like Charms and Hollow Knight. There's a system in this game where you have these badges that kind of alter your movement and the way you interact with the level. Some of them are a little bit more absurd than others. There's like the invisibility one. You kind of go in the background. You see a shadow of yourself, but you can't see yourself if you're in the open. But a lot of them have to do with movement. So there's triple jump, long jump. There's a glider. There's this spring jump one, which is crazy, where you're just perpetually jumping. There is a lot of ways to change your movement based on how you want it. You can only have one on at a time. But what I will say is that it did not feel like crutch perks. This is a crazy comparison, but it didn't feel like I had to have Juggernaut on when I was playing zombies. I feel like I could run whatever I wanted to. And in fact, the game, in a satisfying way, wanted me to use specific badges for specific situations, kind of like a Metroidvania almost, where it was like...
Do you feel like it ups replayability?
For sure. Absolutely.
It seems like this is going to be really interesting for the speedrunning community. If maybe there's some badge synergy with certain levels that can shave off a lot of time. Yeah, all of this, like the Wonder Seeds, the level design, the snappiness of the character, the badges, which I think get looked over a lot when people talk about this game.
Definitely.
It all seems like this game is really trying to excite. I think that is maybe a good mission statement. I wonder though, with the fun and excitement of the Wonder Seeds, I think a lot of that, and this is obviously outside looking in, maybe you can comment on this, but a lot of the fun of the game is almost the anticipation of there's just no way to predict what happens next.
Oh yeah, it's like there are some Wonder Seeds where I was just like, dude, how did you like come to the drawing board with that? You know?
So going back and replaying it then to 100% it, do you feel like replayability is really hindered by that, or are the mechanics fun enough to justify going back and playing a level again?
So replayability is a massive thing with me with games. Movies too. And this game, the way I was thinking about it when I was playing it with Luke was like, this is kind of a party game. Like I would pop this back in with a new person and like show them the game and like mess around with them in it a little bit. So I think there's honestly replayability past the initial like 100% completion. I think you can go back, play this game like another Nintendo party game like Mario Party or Mario Kart or don't get mad at me, Smash, where you kind of go back and revisit it just for the fun of it, not because you're trying to 100% it.
Do you have any, not necessarily gripes, is there anything that didn't sit well with you in this? Is there maybe a missed opportunity?
I feel like probably someone listening is going to agree with me. I felt like I'm trying to remember which number it was. The third kingdom, it was the third one and the fifth one, were not as good as the other 5. There's 7 kingdoms in total.
Any reason?
The levels, the aesthetic was not as good in those two. And the best kingdoms, particularly the second and fourth one, and the sixth one, I believe, the volcano one, they have like a cool level of like exploration where you kind of want to look around like the board game map. Showing some footage of it. And those two kingdoms lack that, in my opinion. The fourth one, I like went back and played levels I didn't play, and like there'll be like a branch off the path that you'll take that'll progressively get harder and harder, and then you'll end up in the special world secret back door. And I didn't feel like the third and fifth kingdom just like skipped that altogether, and I felt like uncovering secrets was kind of like one of the best parts about this game, and those two didn't have that. So that's probably my biggest gripe, is that those two were like a noticeable slump.
Okay. Did you interact with I know you obviously played it co-op with Luke, but did you interact with the multiplayer element of it at all, where I know that people can leave almost like checkpoints behind?
So I did not.
That you can use?
I did not, simply because I did feel the game would have been significantly easier with it.
Okay.
There are specific levels where I think it would be fine. I mean, the game, there's the special world, which is the end game, and then there's like, the regular charted course. I feel like if you had it on like the regular levels, it'd be fine. But I wouldn't want the challenge of one of the harder levels. There was a couple of them that stumped me, honestly. The World 2 secret level, that one was hard. That was probably the hardest level in the game. I feel like if I had like the online multiplayer on, and like I died at the end and then someone saved me, I kind of wouldn't feel like I earned it.
So to wrap up my questions then, what is your take on the talking flowers? Because that's been a point of contention in the community. Some people are really annoyed by them. They have a bit of meme potential. Were they something that you just sort of flew by without noticing, or did it get annoying, or did you like it?
Yeah, so I think the flowers, it was definitely the thing I like raised my eyebrow most at in the trailer. They're basically unnoticeable, unless they're doing something funny. You don't notice them when they're being annoying. You kind of just tune them out. That's good. But when they're doing something that's a little like cute and funny, you will like chuckle at it. They have some funny dialogue that can be interesting, but I don't know. I don't really feel like the game needed it, but at the same time, it's kind of negligible. I mean, it doesn't really help or dampen the game in any way.
Well, those are about all the questions I have. So if you want to give the game a ranking out of 10, and then if you have any final thoughts on it for the viewers.
Yeah, so I feel like in the landscape of 2D games, where we kind of have what I call like the Green Hill Syndrome, where it's like we're going back to nostalgia baiting. This game, I'm not trying to bag on Sonic too hard. The Mario games did it too.
It's just because James isn't here.
Yeah, sorry, James. He's watching this fuming. This game is the complete opposite. So if you've been bothered with that, if you feel like you've been having to go to like the indie side of things to have a compelling, new, fresh 2D game, this time you don't. I heavily recommend playing it. If you're a 2D platformer fan, it's a no-brainer. If you're a Nintendo fan, it's a no-brainer. And quite frankly, I didn't think I was going to like this game at all. But I decided to pick it up. And I'm very glad I did. I haven't really touched Spider-Man because of it. You're not really getting a Spider-Man video because of it, because this was too good to pass up. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. As someone that liked Odyssey as much as I did, I would give that game a perfect 10. I do think it's the best game on the Switch. Come sue me. Having a 2D game that felt so much like Odyssey and its design philosophy was something I did not know I needed, but it was very, very good. So that is my thoughts on the game. I loved it.
Well, since he is the only one who has played it, that means Holy Plot is sitting at a 9 out of 10. If you've played it, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think about, if you want to answer any of the questions I asked, or if you have your own thoughts, we would love to hear it. We read every comment. We respond to them. Jacob responds to them.
Oh, yeah.
Please remember to like, share, subscribe, watch this video again. This video's got a lot of replay value, Maybe there's some Easter eggs hidden around. There aren't, but maybe
you can 100% the game as you're listening to it on loop.
Yeah, actually, if you like, comment, subscribe, share, and watch the whole video, that is 100%ing it. You platinumed this video, so congratulations if you did that. Anyway, this has been Holy Plot. This is Liam and Jacob. Thank you very much for watching. Now get the hell out of here. Get out of here now.